the big portion of the show, the thing that you guys have been waiting on. I mean, we've talked about this for the last several months. It finally happened, the trial of the century in Custer County. We're going to talk about that now with District Attorney Angela Marcy. Good morning.
Good morning, Todd. How are you?
Doing really good. I'm a little disappointed that the media wasn't able to, put this trial of the century on television because, the O.J. trial was pretty big. I lived in L.A. when that happened, but I'm kind of shocked that the Zachary Ty Bryan trial was not televised. Why is that?
Well, it wasn't even a trial, Todd. I mean, that's the first thing. Let's start with that. He did plead guilty on Monday from his prison cell in California. That's why he was online. We were trying to be judicious with our funds and our personnel and not sending someone all the way to California to go get him.
Now, was that and I'm sorry because I'm always horrible on that. Was that considered an arraignment or an initial court appearance? I mean, what technically was that?
Well, I mean, it was his initial district court appearance because he had not appeared yet because he had been out of state, and then he, in addition to the normal district court arraignment process, he actually pled guilty and was sentenced to the 10-year sentence with the first 5 years to be served in custody in prison.
So, at this point, there will be no trial.
There will be no trial, Todd.
Okay. Dang it. No. So, well, it's just interesting to me, and you already answered one of my questions, is why does he get to appear on camera? I mean, if you guys wanted to, you would have said, hey, we want you in court, but you would have had to pay to transport him and all of that, right?
Exactly. It would have been the expense to the state of Oklahoma, not just in how much it would cost to get him back here, but also the personnel that would have to go get him. It's not like you can just put him on a plane and send him back here.
And by the way, if folks don't know who we're talking about, so it's a former child star. He was the blonde-haired mullet guy, the older boy, I think, on Home Improvement. And it's so funny because we spend all the weekends in Cordell now with my dad, and half the time we're watching reruns of Home Improvement. So even my son knows who Zachary Ty Bryan is. But he's what, 50-something or 45 now?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. But he has had, I guess, a history of, DUI arrest and other things. In fact, after he was arrested here, the reason he's in jail in California because the same thing or something similar happened up there, right?
That's my understanding. He had problems in both Oregon and California and Oklahoma, and he definitely has a significant substance abuse issue that he needs to get a handle on. Now,
did he say anything, or was it just quick, I plead guilty, that's it?
Actually, he did. He was very respectful. He was not, I'm a star, don't you know? He never did that. The entire process, he actually was very respectful and very, seemed contrite about what he had done. He knew that he had been given an opportunity to stay on the side of the road sleeping, and then he just took off driving after that, right? So I think he really understood not just the danger to himself, but that he put other people on the road in.
So he gets a 10-year sentence, but you mentioned only has to serve 5, but it's also concurrent with what he's going to be sentenced to in the other states, so it's not like 5 here, maybe 5 in California and 5 in Oregon, right?
Right. He got more time here in Oklahoma than he got in the other states, from what I understand.
Okay.
But we did decide again to run it concurrent or at the same time, because if we want him to come back to Oklahoma and serve time in prison here, then it's going to again cost the state of Oklahoma money to go get him. And, the cost to go get him personnel-wise and then to house him here for the term of that sentence. He will be on probation, so if he were to commit a new crime and not comply with the conditions, because he is going to have to get substance abuse treatment, be subject to drug testing, and the normal things that you have to do. He has to have an interlock device on his car. So if he doesn't do all those things, he will definitely face the remainder of that sentence in prison in Oklahoma. But the Department of Corrections will decide if they actually have to go get him or if it will completely discharge out in the other states.
It's such a tough issue because alcoholism, just like drug addiction, it is a disease. However, we get so frustrated when people are arrested over and over. I mean, we hear all the time about that's your 5th DUI. At what point do you just say you've run out of chances? You've got to be locked up. I mean, is there even a point in that?
I mean, sure there is. I mean, when people, you try, obviously, if it's DUI and it's typically related a lot of times to a substance abuse issue if they are continuing to reoffend. And so, yeah, you try to put something in place so that the first time you try to put something in place so that maybe you don't see him again, and you try to increase the punishment each time, but eventually you do have to say, okay, we got to send you to prison. And that's where we were with Mr. Bryan. Yeah. He just had too much history, and he was a danger and is to our communities. And so it was time to lock him up.
And so he will remain in jail in California.
He will serve his time out there. You know, how they do their credits, what their time is. The California penal system is different than Oklahoma's. I'll just put it that way. So who knows? I mean, the Department of Corrections in Oklahoma may not be satisfied with whatever time he does there, and they may go get him and bring him back here.
All right. Interesting stuff for me, at least. It's not very often we get a, quote, celebrity arrested.
You know, right. And I didn't even know who he was. I didn't really watch Tool Time when I was younger. But, it really isn't unusual anymore for people to appear by video. So I do want to say that wasn't something that he got just because he's a child star. After COVID, we really do a lot more by video.
You even do that from sometimes jails, right? Locally, right?
Local jails, as well as the Department of Corrections facilities, if we can get it arranged. Sometimes we've even done it if they're in federal prison.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would think for security reasons, there's some real benefits to that, right?
There are, and then even in some cases, a witness may be allowed to testify by video in certain types of court hearings. So it's really a lot more advanced, and that was, to me, one of the good things that came out of COVID.
Yeah, all right. One of a few.
A
lot of bad stuff.
One of a few.
We're talking with District Attorney Angela Marcy. Okay, other trials starting or in the preliminary stages, I guess?
Yeah, we're right in the middle of our pretrial term in the judicial district. We've already had pretrials in Ellis, Roger Mills, and Ouachita County. Got a couple of jury trials set in Ouachita County. We have a case set at the end of this month in Ellis County, a murder case that I'll be going up to handle myself.
What is that, if you don't mind? Can you?
The defendant is Callum Carman, and I really can't go into the details, but it was a homicide that happened in February of 26 up in the kind of on the edge between Ellis and Dewey County in a acreage out there where there were where there was a family living. So
jury summons will be going out soon to folks out here, if not already.
Yes. Definitely should have already gone out in Ellis County. And then we have jury term basically starts at the end of August in Ellis County. And I know we have several jury trials scheduled in November in Ouachita, and so we're going to have trials basically September, October, November, hopefully not December, but we'll see.
Well, but you have plenty of staff with your assistant DAs. They're working double time, I guess.
We actually just lost one of our young ADAs this week, and so and we're going to have one out on paternity leave. So we are not fully staffed right now.
Now, just a question, because I've always wanted to do this, because watching Law and Order and stuff, I feel like I'm a legal expert. Do you have to have a law degree to be like a assistant district attorney?
Yes, you do have to. You do have to be a licensed attorney. Sorry, Todd.
Dang it!
You can't just go take the bar exam like KK did in California. You can't just do that. You have to actually go to law school.
I don't even want to take the bar exam.
Yeah.
I just want to I'll put you away, people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. You can't handle the truth. All right. We're talking with District Attorney Angela Marcy. Quick break. Back with more on the Wake Up Show.
Senate District 26 needs a leader who understands our local economy, not someone learning on the job.
Western Oklahoma needs a leader who has a proven record of listening and accomplishing. For over 40 years, I've run successful businesses thanks to the great people here in District 26. Together, we can continue to do great things. Now I'm ready to serve as your next state senator.
For steady leadership and proven results, vote Rick Cook for State Senate.
Paid for by friends of Rick Cook 2026.
Right Media has Western Oklahoma covered. On the radio with the Coyote Classic, The Zoo, The Score, and News Talk KCLI. Plus, live streaming local sports like Clinton, Weatherford, Thomas, Sayre, Watauga, Hinton, Hydro, and Southwestern Oklahoma State University. We also cover Western Oklahoma with the West Oak Weekly. We deliver sports, entertainment, and information on air, in print, or online. That's Right.Media.
It's almost time for the annual no-tax weekend sale at Neighbors Shoe Center and Next Door Neighbors. 4 whole days of tax-free savings. All shoes, clothes, and accessories, all tax-free. The Shoe Dog will be taking care of the tax for you Thursday through Sunday. That's right, Neighbors Shoe Center and Next Door Neighbors are open Sunday afternoon from 1 to 4, just in time for back to school. No tax weekend sale at Neighbors Shoe Center and Next Door Neighbors in downtown Weatherford, happening Thursday through Sunday only.
Hi, this is Heston Wright, owner of Wright Media. I've had the privilege of helping hundreds of local businesses grow, and I've learned one thing. People do business with companies they know, trust, and remember. That's exactly what radio does. While other advertising competes for a quick click or gets lost in the crowded social media feeds, radio builds commitment. It reaches people in their cars, at work, around the house, and throughout their day. In fact, radio reaches more than 90% of adults every week. When your message is heard consistently, your business stays top of mind. And when your customer needs your product or service, they're much more likely to think of you first. At Wright Media, we don't just sell commercials. We help businesses grow. We'll work with you to create a marketing plan that fits your budget, your goals, and your business. I would love the opportunity to earn your trust and your business. Give me a call today and let's talk about how radio can work for you. Your customers are listening. Shouldn't your business be heard?
David, I've got a friend with no money and he needs a new mattress. Can you help him?
Harold, this is a perfect time. Right now, we've got up to 18 months interest-free financing.
That's no interest, nothing down for a year and a half?
Yeah, and that's not just mattresses. That's on appliances and furniture.
So, folks, they've got a large selection of all types of bedding. How about a dishwasher?
We can do a dishwasher. We've got Bosch, KitchenAid.
Check them out today. Again, folks, you get a year and a half, up to a year and a half, no interest, nothing down with approved credit at Topfest on the main corner in downtown Weatherford. See them today.
Welcome back to the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show, brought to you by Priority Home Medical Equipment. Our guest in the Shepherd Home Health and Hospice Studios is our current district attorney, Angela Marcy. And Ms. Marcy, we watched the forum last night with a couple of the Senate candidates, and I think maybe they were a little surprised by one of Jeff Bronk's questions because it was about a state question that's coming up on the ballot in November, and it has to do with possibly changing the Judicial Nominating Committee. First of all, for folks that don't know, what is the Judicial Nominating Committee?
So it's a 15-member commission, if I remember correctly, the number. And whenever an appellate judicial position, so the Court of Civil Appeals, Court of Criminal Appeals, the Supreme Court, whenever one of those positions becomes available or whenever there is a vacancy in either a district judge or an associate judge spot in the state of Oklahoma, the Judicial Nominating Commission is tasked with basically vetting the applicants. There's an application process. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation has to do background checks on all the applicants. And the JNC is tasked with vetting those applicants, and then they are required by law to submit 3 names to the governor, and then the governor has to pick one of those people to fill that vacancy. And it's been that way. The Judicial Nominating Commission has been in place for a long time because of basically there were a lot of scandals before when it was just the governor can appoint whoever they want, and there were lots of scandals back in the 50s and 60s, and so that's why we have the Judicial Nominating Commission.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a little more complex than even what we have in the federal system because Supreme Court nomination comes up, president just says, hey, I'm going to pick this. Now, there's people advising, of course, and the same way with all the other federal judges, but basically the president picks somebody and then it's confirmed by the Senate. Right? So different here in Oklahoma, you have this committee. So why do some people not like the Judicial Nominating Committee, or is the state question trying to just change who's a part of it, I guess?
Yeah, so from what I understand, the state question basically will change the makeup a little bit. It will basically set a term limit for the members of the committee. It will restructure the committee members to align with the congressional districts. That's not really that big a deal. Yeah. They can serve 2 consecutive 6-year terms. It will remove the ban on at-large members who are lawyers or immediate family members. And it will remove the limit on how many members can belong to the same political party and remove the requirement for balanced political party representation among members. And those last 3 are probably the things that are probably going to cause most people to think, yeah, why would we want to vote for this? Or maybe that's why people would want to vote for it, right? Yeah. One way or the other.
Get those Democrats off the committee!
Right. Yeah, I when you start inducing or putting political parties into this kind of commission, it's already pretty political anyway because of the gubernatorial appointment process, and so it's already going to be who the governor wants, right? And so I don't know. They try to tweak this. They've tried to tweak it for years.
They've even done some stuff in the legislature, right?
They have. There are people that are not happy with the way the process works, and it's usually people who don't get picked to be one of the 3 names that goes to the governor, or it might be one of their family members. And so that's usually, and some of those people are sometimes in the legislature. So that's sometimes, I think, where it comes from. But
so you mentioned, and this is one of the parts that's a little bit confusing to me, remove the ban on at-large members who are lawyers or who have immediate family members. So there are people on this committee that aren't lawyers, or none of them or lawyers?
Right now, it's primarily people that are not lawyers.
Wow.
Because I guess.
Because most lawyers are Democrats.
Well, no.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be. Some people might think that. I think in the past, lawyers were allowed, family members of lawyers were allowed to be on the committee. And I think there was a thought that maybe lawyers overly influenced who the judges should be.
Yeah.
But the lawyers are the ones who know who the judges are and how they are and how the other lawyers are. And they're the ones who know, right? So shouldn't we know what the lawyers think of the people that are applying?
Well, for example, if you put me, hey, I'd love to be on the committee, but how do I know?
You're going to ask me, aren't you, Todd? Because I'm the lawyer that you know, right?
Well, exactly. But it's kind of like, I've talked about the insurance commissioner race, for example. Everybody running for an insurance commissioner has been an insurance agent. And I'm like, do they have the best interest of the consumers in mind or the insurance industry, since that's who pays their bill? And I'm not disparaging any of them. So somewhat you would think, well, maybe we should have somebody from outside that industry. But then again, you have to have experience to deal with what you're regulating, right?
Exactly. I mean, experience matters. I think somebody ran on that a few years ago. I think it was that was me. Experience does matter, and absolutely, if you're going to regulate something, you should understand the industry that you're going to regulate. And I would say, I wouldn't assume that just because they come from the insurance industry that they're going to protect the insurance industry. They may lean towards that, but that's where your research comes in, right?
Yeah.
Because you very well have one of the candidates that's running that is not, well, maybe they came from the industry. They really do care more about the people that they served as the insurance agent, which is their customers.
Yeah.
You and me, right? And so I think it's really important for anybody to do their research on something like that to try to determine, is this person an insurance person or is this person an insured person? Like, are they representing the people that are insured or the insurance companies that are making all the money?
Yeah, good point. And so back to briefly to just 845, the Judicial Nominating Committee. Do you have a thought on whether this is going? A lot of times when people don't understand state questions, they tend to vote no.
Right. I think it depends. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think we have a lot of voter fatigue right now with everything on the ballots. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people are like, why do we have another state question? We got 3 of them on this ballot or however many we have. And then we got to vote for all these people. Some of them I don't even know their names. And so I think you're right. I think a lot of people might just vote no for that very reason. I do think, interestingly enough, we have a member of the JNC in Weatherford, Jeff DeFair,
really?
is on the Judicial
that.
Nominating Commission. And so, I don't know. I'm not opposed to tweaking the JNC if it really makes sense to do so. I don't know that this is the vehicle to do it or not. I don't know.
Well, Jeff DeFair, now that I know you're on this committee, I'm going to vote for whichever way you want it to go, as long as you give me a discount on a 9RX. Okay? That's what I'm talking about, because my son wants one really bad. I don't know what we'd do with it, but, we'd find something to plow or plant. Well, District Attorney Angela Marcy, thank you so much for coming in. Before we let you go, election coming up, August 25th.
August 25th, the runoff. And I really, like I said, lots of voter fatigue, right? Please, please, please get out to vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm going to tell you to do your research, right? Get out and vote August 25th. It's too late to get an absentee ballot in the mail, but you can still early vote the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before the election if you're going to be out of town. So please vote early if you can't vote on the actual day on the 25th. Get out and vote. Give a voice to our communities by voting for the candidates that you want to see to represent you at the Capitol.
Yeah, good point. Don't just gripe about it on Facebook, which I'm so glad I'm away from that right now. But get out and do your duty. It's easy, And guess what? There's not going to be giant lines on this one.
There won't be. There will not be giant lines.
Yeah. All right. District Attorney Marcy, always enjoyable having you in here.
Thank you, Todd. It's good to see you.
See if you can get Zachary Ty Bryan to do a video Zoom call with us from prison next time, okay?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. It is time for news now. I believe we have John Matthews standing by. Were you covering that?
Covering the trial, yeah. Actually,
yeah.
They flew me to California so I could be there with him in person for his video conference for Custer County District Court.
Were you kind of like his Johnny Cochran?
Yeah, just trying to help out. If the glove don't fit, you got to quit. That's the rules around here. No, so she mentioned get out and vote for the August 25th election.
Yeah.
That's great for Republicans.
What?
No, nobody else gets to. It's fine.
Well, that's
hey,
not
you're going to
true.
represent your. Hey,
everybody can vote because
no, they can't.
There are 2 state questions on the ballot, if you live in Weatherford, there's city commission races. There's a few other towns that have some local races.
Said
in Ouachita County.
These people represent you in the state Senate. Get out and vote for them. Well, that's only true for Republicans. Actually.
She was
Nobody else gets to.
mentioning that race, but there's many other reasons to vote. John, you've probably never voted in your life, so I don't know why you're
First of
talking.
all, I've never missed an election. I vote all the time. I'm all about it. I love
you vote early and often.
Early and often. I vote for me. I vote for my dad who's passed away and my grandpa who's passed away. I get 3 votes.
I see.
All right, so let's go there. But no, do you not think if there's 2 people running for an election, should not everybody get to vote?
No.
I don't. Why not?
I don't believe in open primaries.
I don't either. I don't
Okay?
either. But if there's only 2 people, then that should qualify. It's no longer an open primary. It's an election.
It's a closed primary is what it is. It's primary runoff that's closed. But what you're advocating for is an open primary.
No.
Yeah, because
I'm advocating.
Look, you have a choice to make. Are you going to register as a Republican, as a Democrat, or as an independent? And the Democrats, until they screwed up with paperwork this past year, they allowed independents to vote. But no, you have to make a choice. I'm so tired of people that are afraid of. Do I agree with everything that everybody in my party does? No. But I'm registered as a Republican because I know in Oklahoma I am going to be able to vote on the candidates that matter.
I just think if we claim to be a system that where we vote people in that represent us, and then yet I never had an opportunity to vote for the person. Because if there's a Democrat running and there's 2 different primaries, yes. But I think when it's down to 2 people, no one else can win the election but these 2 people, how is it not fair that everybody in the state or everybody in the district, gets to vote?
Because that's the way the system as
that's
designed.
The most old man answer I've ever heard in my life.
No,
that's just the way it's always been.
Get out there, Democrats. Jeff Verong run for state senate again, okay? You
that
could be going
fine.
against that, okay?
It happens with sheriffs more often than any other position.
Well, and some of the other races, should they be partisan? Probably not, but they are. My deal has always been everything should be partisan, okay? That's the only thing that I agree with Mike Macy about that he may. I think even school board elections should be partisan, So you have to say who you are,
Right.
So, but anyway, it's not a huge deal to me. But once again, quit registering as an independent or Democrat in the state of Oklahoma if you want to vote. Hey, I had to register as a Democrat back in the day to vote because I still remember when Democrats controlled everything in the state. And Republicans were making the same argument. We can't vote.
Right. And again, it's not about I don't mind the primaries when there's multiple sides. It's just when there's only one side there representing your entire district is where I feel like it could be fixed.
Call your state senator.
Oh, we tried. I'm currently fighting.